back to Lex Reads. So in today's video, I wanted to do my top books of 2022. We are entering a new year. And when I was going through my list, I'm like, I had some really good books that I read this year. In total, I read 66 books. My Goodreads goal was 60 books. What I used to do is I used to do like increments of like 20. But then last year I had got to like 68 or something, and I was gonna do, see, 2, 4, 6. I was gonna do 80, but I'm like, I don't know if I can make it to there. But I think this year, I think next year in 2023, I'm gonna strive to do 80 books because I know that I can surpass the 60. And I mean, I got to 66 this year, so yeah. And I could have got to more, but look, I'm like, I read when I read, okay? Because I got other stuff that I got to do. But yeah, I want to share with you guys my top books of 2022. I only have 6 of them. Also, I want to share my top music, albums, also top TV shows and movies. So we're going to do it all like that. All right. So first, let's do the books. So first book that I love this year was Mimi and Mom Bae by Sabina Khan. Sabina Khan is an Indian writer. She is also a YA novelist. I have read all of her books. She has 3 books. I know in, I believe, March of 2023, she's coming out with a new book, which I will be getting. She's an author where when she has a new book, I get it. This, Lord. So this is about a 17-year-old Indian Muslim girl. Her name is Asha. She has moved from India to the US to finish her senior year. Her parents want her to go to a university in the United States. So she meets this young man, Suish, I think that's his name. And he's, Indian too. And but she's the only one that's, she's in Illinois. She's the only one in Illinois that's like basically Indian. So when she sees him, they gravitate towards each other. They start talking. They become involved with each other and she gets pregnant. And again, 17 years old, Muslim, and she's Indian. So she's like, what in the world am I going to do? Like, I got to finish school. What am I going to do? So she decides to give her baby up for adoption. And when she does that, she has a baby, she gives it up for adoption, she goes back home. Then you have, so the first story is about Asha. And then the second part of the story is about Myra. And Myra is adopted. She has a wonderful life, but she knows that she's adopted because her parents are white. She has same-sex parents, 2 moms. So she knows, and she feels she doesn't feel that, like that much of an outcast, but she just wants to know, like, what happened with my mom, because she finds these letters. Girl, this was so good. So you had some aspects of it that it felt like a YA novel, but also too is some aspects that I felt like, I wasn't reading a YA novel. Sabina Khan knows how to write. She knows how to tell these well-rounded stories. When I tell you, after I was done with this, I kept on going back to the passages, especially when the later parts of the book, because this is not a spoiler either. Asha writes, a letter to her unborn child, like, when you turn 18, if you feel it in your heart, meet me in India. And it's like a certain place, and she's like, I'll be there. But the parts when, like, the daddy kind of come back and stuff, I love some teen drama, girl. So I really like those passages. I mean, this book is just so good. Sabina Khan, she's #1 in my book. So yeah. Next is Infants of the Spring by Wallace Thurman. Of course, I had to get in a Harlem Renaissance. I discovered this year that Wallace Thurman is probably my favorite male author of that time. He only wrote technically 3 books, but that last book, Inferno, is like not in print. I can't find it. I know he died before. I think, did he die before it came out? I don't know. But he's known for 2 books, which is Blacker the Berry. That's like his #1. That's his first one. And then Infants of the Spring. This one is set in the Harlem Renaissance, but clearly, but it's about the Harlem Renaissance. He actually has fictional characters that are based on real life people from that time. So like Zora, Langston Hughes, who else? Richard Bruce Nugent, and what? Aaron Douglas, just so many. And this talks about gender, it talks about race, it talks about sexuality, of course it talks about passing. This particular scene, this is just like a minor character, but there's a mom and a daughter. The mom basically uses white men to like have her take care of her. She's actually a black woman, but she looked like she's white. And she's basically kind of, her daughter has seen that, and she's kind of tricked out our daughter a little bit. But her thing is, look, I ain't taking care of you. You got to figure something out. So she's like, you know what? I guess I'm going to do what my mom does. But in this particular scene, she's talking about passing, and it got me. Like, Wallace Thurman was just brilliant. So she says, when I go white, I want to stay white and never hear of being colored again. Then he says, which is just the proper attitude to have in order to be found out. The minute you leave the colored world, you live in unholy fear that Negroes you once knew might meet you somewhere and recognize you publicly. What if they do? 9 times out of 10, that Negro is glad to see you change of status. You're antagonizing him only by ignoring him. Girl, and when I read that, I said, it just something dawned on me. And he also mentioned too, he says, you know, there's white people that are born white and they have, you know, black friends, and they don't abandon their black friends, you know. So why do you think that when you pass white, you can't associate with anybody black? Girl, the way he put that about passing in that capacity, because of course in a lot of the Harlem Renaissance books at that time, they talk about passing, but it looked like he just really not only explained it, but he just hit the nail on the head with that. Girl, this book is so good. I urge you guys to read this. I mean, as you can see, look how much I tapped this. Like, girl, I was going in. It's only 280 pages, but it does not read like 280 pages. This book is just fantastic. Wallace Thurman was just a fantastic author. Okay, next, of course, I had to mention this. Donna Hill Rhythms. This was a new author that I discovered this year. I've had her books for some time, and one reason why I wanted to read this because it was set in the 1920s, 1927 to be exact. And since I'm, focusing on the Harlem Renaissance, any books that was set in 1920s and 1930s, I was gravitating towards it. This, fantastic. This gives you a Vanishing Half aspect, but it's flipped, if you know what I mean. If you read Vanishing Half, it's flipped. Her dialogue, unbelievable. I have a reading vlog if you guys want to check it out of me reading this book. Fantastic. Donna Hill is also going to be on, I have another Donna Hill book that I'm reading for 2023 that I'm so excited about because all her stories are just, well, I'm saying all, I've only read 2 of her stories. This is actually a sequel. It's this book is first, and then what my mom never told me or something. I'll pop up a picture. I also read the sequel to that because that sequel is focusing on the granddaughter's perspective, because this is a multi-generation story. You deal with a woman named Cora, and then you have Emma, and then you have Paris. Fantastic. That's all I can say. Next, girl, The Vanishing Half. Unbelievable. I waited until the hype was died down, because sometimes I don't like to read books when the hype is when everyone's reading it. I like to read it when nobody not talking about it, and I just get a different feeling. And this came out in 2020. I read it this year. Unbelievable. I have 2 copies of this. If I like a book, I always get 2 copies because I want one pretty one that I can have on my shelf, and then this is the one that I highlighted and annotated. I mean, girl, when I highlight and write in books, that means I really like them, because I don't like to do that. This Stella and what was the girl's name? Stella and Desiree. Girl. I mean, she got you to the first page. It just hooks you. The only hiccup I had is I wanted to know just a tiny bit more about Stella's situation, because it was kind of like an open ending. It was like, it wasn't at the same time, it was, because it's like, okay, I mean, what's the daddy gonna never find out, like your husband, like what's going on with that? Which it's like, the daughter was like, I understand what you're coming from. I understand. You don't have to worry about me. I don't want to give it away if you haven't read it, but yeah. And I think out of the twins, I understand Stella's situation, because with her, it's not that she hates being Black. I always say it's the inconvenience of being Black. Every time someone finds out that you are colored, it's a hurdle. And it's like, her thing is, I just want to be able to go where I want to go, do what I want to do. I mean, I just want to go to school and be able to go to some shops without somebody bothering me, I mean, that's simple, when you really think about it. But so I do understand Stella's perspective, but I think I like Desiree a little bit more, and probably because she's just true to herself in some ways when it comes to race. But I also think she did that despite her family. And then I also love this book because it's set in a small town in the South, I believe, Louisiana. And I say time and time again, both sides of my family from Louisiana. I grew up hearing those stories, all those anecdotes, and especially when it comes to race, things like if you drink coffee, you get Black, and, just little stupid things that, girl. So I grew up, so a lot of the anecdotes and sayings that was in this book, I'm like, girl, I had never heard before, never had read in a book before. And I'm like, oh, you could tell that her people are from the South, because little things like that, they would say something like that. But this, fantastic. And because I read this book, after reading this, I wanted to read her first book, The Mothers, and that one was really good too. The ending, Brit Bennett leaves you with a kind of like, okay, what's next? But her writing, it makes up for it because it's fantastic. Next, girl, this took up my time. The Ethics series. I still got to get the first and second one. I have it on audio. I keep on saying I got to get like the tangible copies. But this, I just read it on a whim. This fantastic. This took up my whole May. I had, I plan my books. Girl, them books went to the left side. Okay, in May, I said, I got to focus on this. This got so crazy. Every week, I was ordering them or going to the store to get them. Ethics, girl, this, besides the, the killing and the little past that he had, I want a man like Ethics, okay? The way Ashley Antoinette wrote this was fantastic. Only thing is, she dragged the story too long. This didn't need to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. This needed to be a good 3 books, okay? She just dragged it along where it got to the point where it was like, come on, girl. But at the same time, I found myself reading them, every second. Morgan, can't stand Morgan. She got on my last nerve. She has the follow-up stories about Morgan, the Butterfly series. I'm not reading that. I have 3 of them. I cannot read Morgan. I got that before I even started Ethics. But after reading about Morgan, I'm like, I don't want to know her. I wish she would have done a spinoff of like Bella or something. I would say my favorite is, I like Alani, even though Alani, girl, it was like 1 second she wanted to be like, gangster, another second she cried in 5 minutes. But I still liked her. Obviously, I like Bella, and of course, Ethics is just fantastic. This story was so good, I have to admit. She did it right. You got the shooting and the stuff like that and the killing, but then you got the little girl, all the sex, and then it goes back to like the romance, and then it goes back to the killing and the girl. It's just everything. She did this series. She honestly did. Morgan just got on my nerves, but this, I think I might dig back into this world. I need another good urban fiction series, y'all. If y'all know some, please let me know. I was thinking about doing what is it, G-Spot by Noir or whatever. I don't know, but I need a really good urban fiction series like this, something that got this kind of feeling. If you guys know some, please, please, please tell me, okay? Look, we can even read them along with each other, because urban fiction is a conversation piece. You need to read them with someone, okay? Because when I tell you, I wish I would have read this with someone, girl. And then the last book that is, it's probably one of my favorites. It's going to be like top 20, top 10 books of all times. It's going to be in that list, and that is The Yellow Wife by Sadeqa Johnson. I read this twice. I don't read books twice. I read this twice. I remember finishing it a day later, picked it back up. I have 2 copies of this. This is my nice clean version, and I'm probably going to read this again. I said I was going to read it before 2022 ended, but I didn't. I had all these other books I had to read, but I know I'm probably going to pick this back up again. Girl, the beginning of the year, I was obsessed with this book. I was obsessed with Sadeqa Johnson. I kept on finding interviews of hers. I bought her other previous books because she was known as a contemporary novelist before she got into historical fiction. Her new book is coming out not next month, in February, The House of Eve. I will be getting it on the day it came out. I actually was offered by the publishers to get a ARC, but I don't like ARCs because I don't know if you go, you might take something out or add something in. I want the finished copy. And then also too, I want the experience. I want to go to the store, pick it up, and then read it that day. So this, unbelievable. This is talking about Mary Lumpkins. It's inspired by Mary Lumpkins. She was a slave. She could clearly pass for white. She gets married to a man who is a slave trader. He owns a jail where you torture, you do everything. I did not know that slave traders were like the bottom of the barrel. Like plantation owners, they would not want their daughters to marry slave traders. They were like down. So those slave traders, since they couldn't marry the plantation owners' daughters, they would marry slaves, but they would marry slaves that looked like they were white. So Mary Lumpkin could pass for white, but he had 4 children by her, but he was horrible to those slaves, the things that he did. And so this book is inspired by Mary Lumpkin and Robert Lumpkin. So Phoebe Dolores Brown is obviously Mary Lumpkin, and then Reuben LaPierre is based on Robert Lumpkin. Y'all, please read this. Please, 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 please read this. This is a book, it made me cry too, girl. But when July, if y'all have read it, July took my heart. Oh, that baby, a little girl. Oh, I was so, girl, I was so angry with Reuben when he did that. But I had to keep on telling myself, girl, this is a book. This ain't real life. So, yeah. All right, so that was it for the books. Now, let's talk about the movies. Now, I was shocked because I didn't have any, like top movies. I didn't have any top movies. I had one movie. And the crazy thing is, all these movies and TV shows are not black. They're white. So the first one was The Gilded Age. Girl, if you have HBO Max, I highly recommend you guys watch that. The reason why I like it because The Gilded Age it's the Reconstruction era. And I liked how they depicted the black elite. When you think of like blacks in the 1900s, you're just thinking about like slavery, especially in the 1800s. But slavery ended what, 1865? Well, it was supposed to end 1865. But Reconstruction is a little bit, it's like 1890s or something like that. So you got some free people. And in this situation, Peggy's family, they are free and they have money. They own, her dad owns a pharmacy. Girl, this is just so good. So good. You got that new money versus that old money. I mean, I loved every minute of it. And then you have Audrey McDonald playing Peggy's mother. I'm a fan of Audrey McDonald. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, everything was just fantastic. I love, love, love this series. I know they have a season 2. I know the series is renewed for a season 2. So hopefully 2023, they will come out with it because, Lord. This series is also, it's created by, what's the man? Is it Julian Fellows? He wrote He created Downton Abbey. And when Downton Abbey came out, I'm like, because sometimes some period dramas can be really boring. I didn't get into Downton Abbey until the lockdown in 2020 because you couldn't go anywhere. And girl, that was good too. But I think, I don't know, I might like Gilded. I don't know, because Downton Abbey, that's good. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. But it's a close second. So that was my top one. My second show that I love was The Dropout. It's talking about Elizabeth Holmes, the little crook that was taking all that money, was what, the first female billionaire, and now she has, like, girl, the stuff that she was doing. And did y'all see? She got convicted and got, what, 11 years? I said, she got that because y'all know why she got that light sentence. But Amanda, how you say her name? The girl that played Karen from Mean Girls, she embodied Elizabeth. Girl, that was so good. It came on Hulu and it was a mini series. I was watching that week to week. Okay, that was so good, so good, and she deserved that Emmy. She did fantastic. She embodied that character. Okay, and then the last, which is a movie, came also on Hulu, is Good Luck to Leo Grande. This has Emma Thompson, and it's a 60-something-year-old woman that she's never really explored her sexuality. She was married to a man that he was a dun-dun-dun-dun. And she, you know, he's passed, she got grown kids, and she hires a sex worker, basically, because she hasn't had the big experience, if you know what I mean. And he helps her through that. Now, clearly the synopsis is very sexual, but it wasn't vulgar. It honestly was not vulgar. I watched it twice. It wasn't like, oh Lord, you're like, okay, an older woman in her 60s is hiring a sex worker. It was not. If you guys have watched it, you know what I mean. And if you guys haven't watched it, please watch it because it's really good. I mean, I loved it. I honestly did. So that made my top pick for movies and shows. So that's all I have for the movies and shows. Okay, music. Let's start at the bottom. Okay, A Tribe Called Quest. I listened to all of their albums. I would say Vibe and Stuff. I love that song. Butter and God Lives Through. I discovered Phife. I think he's probably my favorite rapper. He can, oh girl, Phife could spit. He could spit. I think I like him a little bit better than Q-Tip, okay? Q-Tip good, but Phife, the way he coined them words, oh my goodness, Lord. But those were like my top 3 that I kept on listening to, like the new ones that I discovered, because you know we all know like Jazz and Can I Kick It and Bonita Applebum. I knew that, but those 3 songs I didn't know. Butter, oh I love it. I love you. What do you say? I named Tanya, Tamika, Karen, Sharon. Oh, I love Phife. So that was on rotation. Next was Phyllis Hyman. Oh Lord, Phyllis Hyman, just fantastic. I mean, her voice was like velvet. The way she could do things with her voice, and she wasn't even trained. And it's like, how do you sing like that? And on top of that, she was just beautiful. She was really regal. Oh my goodness. Songs I like by her that I had never heard before is I Don't Want to Lose You, Give a Little More, You Just Don't Know, and No One Can Love You. Those were like my top. And I would say, because I knew like somewhere in my lifetime, Old Friend, You Know How to Love Me. But these, love them. Next was Jazmine Sullivan. I loved her album. Oh my goodness. I was so glad when her album, she was doing the EPs back in 2020, 2021. She got like kind of like a resurgence because Jazmine Sullivan can sing, okay? And I was also glad that she finally got her Grammy, okay? She been deserved them Grammys. But Roster, love that, and Hurt Me So Good. Oh my goodness, girl. Roster, love it. Okay, and then the last artist that I listened to constantly throughout the whole year was the Jones Girls. I'm old school for real, okay? I only knew one Jones Girls well, I actually knew two Jones Girls songs. You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else and Nights Over Egypt. I didn't know them girls had all them songs. I listened to all their albums. Oh Lord. Okay. Life Goes On, Sitting on Top, Mercy. Oh, what else? Girl, they got, what's the other one that I like? Uh A Feeling's Killing Me. Oh girl. Those girls, them Jones girls, they could sing. Now I was saying, do I like them better than the Emotions or the Jones girls? I think I'm still gonna lean towards the Emotions because them Hutchinson sisters. But ooh, it's like Emotions is one, Jones Girls is two, because the Emotions, they got some tunes, okay? But the Jones Girls, you know, it's like they singles is good, and also just like the songs that are not singles are good. I mean, them girls just can sing. I love all of them. I also watched their Unsung. It came out, what, I think last year, 2021, that TV1 did. Oh, girl. If you haven't seen that, please watch it. It's so good. And if you haven't listened to any Joan Girls songs, please listen to them. And if you have, please tell me your favorite, okay? Please tell me your favorite. So yeah, guys, that is all I have for my top books, movies, TV shows. I had a really good year. It was a good year with reading. It was a good year when it came to personal stuff too in my life. I had a transition when it came to my job. I'm really liking my job now. You know, I'm in my 30s now. So this year has been good. And I know that the next year is going to be good. I have already prayed for that, speak it to existence. I'm praying for you guys to have a very good year this year and meet all your reading goals and your personal goals and all of that. And thank you guys again for supporting my channel. I started this last year, actually, yeah, in January 1st is when I posted my first video. I was trying to get through Queen by Alex Haley, and I did. So again, guys, thank you so much. We're almost to 1,000. Once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I am going to be doing a giveaway. You already know it's gonna be some books and it's gonna be some graphic tees, because y'all know I live for graphic tees, okay? Live for graphic tees. So again, guys, thank you so much. Thank you. Again, I hope you guys have a great year, a prosperous year. And I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.